It's a Phineas and Ferb universe. Fish can live as long as they want.
Hey, I know what we're gonna analyze. The episodes in season 5. Hope it brings you laughter. This is Afterferb.
Ooh, Halloween! Oh, Space Adventure is calling you. And I am also calling you to smash that like button, hit subscribe, leave a comment, and welcome yourselves to this episode of Afterferb, the Phineas and Ferb discussion podcast, starring me, Alex Meleras, alongside the ones and onlys, Zach Timpson and Andrew Grabowski. How's it going, guys?
I think it's very funny to say that we're starring in a podcast, as if we rehearsed.
Okay, Zach, well, not all of us have been on Disney Channel and Netflix. I'm taking this moment in stride.
Go for it.
I'm good, Alex. My voice is a little hoarse because I've been working at a theme park all week and also doing a scare event where I scream at people once a week at my other job and also singing on the weekends.
And I also dealt with a little horse on Main Street at Disneyland. Because
that was an insane segue.
I know, because I now, on top of being a Jungle Cruise skipper, drive the Main Street vehicles at Disneyland. I don't drive the horse, but I drive behind the horse in a horseless carriage and an omnibus and a fire engine. But we could talk about our jobs all day long because since we're 20-somethings in LA, we have multiple. But we need to stop wasting time and get to the focus.
Yeah, we have to get to my
week.
recent experience with horses. I just watched an episode of Amazing Race, and there were horses on it an hour ago.
Okay, I'm glad we all have a horse story. Horse's name was Friday.
Okay, time to talk about space adventure. All right, the first thing I want to say,
it's an adventure in space.
It is an adventure in space. To give some background, so as you may have seen, Dan Povenmire put up a TikTok about this, as he is prone to do. And I was not aware of this background, that after Candace Against the Universe, Bob Bowen started making animatics for the fake space adventure TV show. In particular, the one that was shared was the coming in hot scene where they land on the moon.
That one's good.
And Dan basically explained Bob was just doing this for fun because he couldn't help himself and he just kept making animatics. And then when Phineas and Ferb was revived, they thought, great, now we can use all these animatics that we never thought we were going to get to use and make an actual episode about this.
Actually, I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I remember there being buzz about it back in 2020 or maybe 2021, because when they did the space adventure bits for Candace Against the Universe, he just kept rolling with it. I had forgotten that when I first watched this episode, though. A separate thought made me think, I bet Bob Bowen created this, and it was the gag early on in the episode where he sends out the R2-D2 equivalent, and he just keeps slowly shuffling into place for way too long. I went, this feels like a Candace Against the Universe gag. I bet the guy who made Candace Against the Universe made this, and then I looked it up, and he did. It was Bob Bowen.
Yeah, this really seemed like the Bob Bowen piece from start to end, and it seems pretty polarizing of an episode. I want to start by hearing what you guys think before I say what I think.
So I personally, the first time I watched this episode, I was checking my watch. It didn't really latch me in any way. Upon my rewatch, I got more of what they were going for and thought some of the jokes were a bit funnier. But my initial thought is this kind of felt like a test for a spinoff, but it didn't land with me because it wasn't structured like a pilot. It was kind of structured like an episode of a show that had already been running for a while. And I don't know, it was tough to care about the characters. And I think this is the first Phineas and Ferb episode to not have any of the 5 central characters of Phineas, Ferb, Candace, Doof, and Perry. So
there's been other episodes without Doof and Candace, but this is according to the wiki, this is the first time in series history that Phineas and Ferb and Perry have not appeared.
Yeah, and so I don't know, it didn't really hook me in, but some of the jokes were funny enough.
Yeah, I think it definitely felt like a backdoor pilot. I think similar to Zach, my first time watching it, I was like, okay, I see what they're going for, but the fact that I didn't know who any of these characters were made me a little bit less invested. I will say it definitely improves on rewatches. I still don't think it's stellar, but I'm like, okay, I get the sense of humor they're going for. You kind of just have to look at it as not Phineas and Ferb and treat it as its own thing, because it effectively is.
But not the episode, not Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah, not Phineas and Ferb, just not Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's kind of just trying to be a parody of Star Wars / Star Trek slash there's also like moments where it's definitely making fun of like Doctor Who and just general sci-fi shows.
Yeah, I have never seen Star Trek before. I started watching one Star Wars movie one time when I was like 9 years old and I fell asleep. And so as soon as I realized what this episode was, I thought, okay, this is gonna bore me to tears, but that's okay because I'm just not the target audience for this. I don't know anything about these shows. And the first time I watched it, mostly I was bored, and then once it got to the end, with the suns and black holes nebula, I retroactively realized what they had been going for the whole time with this episode, and I was like retroactively not bored anymore. And the second time I watched it, I knew what I was getting into, knowing first of all this is like effectively a backdoor pilot, as you say, which it's a backdoor for a show that they don't intend to make. I think the absolute most they would do is maybe make one follow-up episode in season 6 if they really got carried away. Because Dan kind of hinted like, oh, if everyone likes it, maybe we'll do that again. But I don't think they're intending on making a real show out of this. So it's not really a backdoor pilot. It just kind of reads that way. So yeah, you have to judge it on those terms. And that this was basically spoofing... Yeah, it was spoofing like those space movies and stuff that I had never seen. But also I kind of felt like it was sort of ribbing the general prototype of the like insufferable, reckless, like macho action man, as well as just like the general mind-numbing stupidity of action movies and Marvel movies in which like nothing can kill the main character and therefore there are like no stakes, and so it's like unwatchable to me personally. Which is but that's why I liked it, because I thought it was clever ribbing at that. So I think this is like not perfect at all. It's not really a Phineas and Ferb episode, but I do think that it is a very good pastiche of a genre that I'm unfamiliar with. So I'm a defender of space adventure.
See, I would understand what you were going like. I understand what you're saying, because I'm also personally not a fan of sci-fi. I like the original Star Wars, but it's tough for me to like. I'm never going to go out of my way to see a super high concept, otherworldly sci-fi, whatever. And yeah, it was a pastiche of that type of leader. The problem was they didn't make that character super likable. He didn't have many redeeming qualities. And if they had really leaned into that and like leaned more into this guy's kind of a jerk and kind of a doofus, and played it up a little more for laughs, I could have been more on board. But it kind of felt like with what's the main character's name? Dirk Mortensen. It feels like with Dirk Mortensen.
Not to be confused with Dink Winkerson.
Yeah. They couldn't decide whether they wanted us to like him or whether they wanted him to be an unlikable character.
No, I think he was definitely meant to be a little bit pompous. No, kind of similar to you, Alex. I think... So I ended up watching this episode 3 times, and I feel like I had wildly different thoughts all 3 times. Like the first time I was a little bit bored. The second time, it was after our friend Chandler pointed out, like there's no differentiation between these characters. They're all the incompetent one. And I'm like, yeah, that is a pretty big flaw, because they're throwing this whole crew of people at you really quickly. And the bit with all of them is kind of just like they do what they shouldn't be doing. Like he decides to whip by the enemy fleet to rub it in their face. And then there's Nosh firing the torpedoes hastily and the purple girl pulling out her weapons hastily. But then on the third watch, I was like, wait, that's the point. Like the whole point is that everyone here is kind of an imbecile and it doesn't matter. And when you look at it from that perspective, like it's pure satire, I think it works a bit better.
So yes, I agree with what you're saying, but also it took you 3 rewatches to get to that point. I feel like most people who are general Phineas and Ferb viewers that don't have a season 5 review podcast are not going to watch this episode 3 times. I had a hard time convincing myself to watch it a second time. So I understand that it is satirical, but I feel like if they wanted it to be a satire, they could have leaned more into the incompetence and lack of consequences.
Yeah, I think they should have.
But Zach, that's our job as the people with the podcast to watch it 3 times and then let everyone else know who's only watched it once to be like, hey, here's something that you may have missed that our expertise, having watched it multiple times, can
Touché.
identify.
Okay, point Alex.
And Andrew, I like what you say. I like this framing of it as like, oh yeah, everyone is really bad at their jobs. And I especially, I want to shout out Lamont, who can throw things with his mind, but is really, really bad at it. I didn't consider it at all the first time. The second time, that was, I think, the thing that I found the funniest, because from what I've picked up of like the Star Wars, Star Trek world by osmosis over the years is like something about the Force, right? Yoda, I don't know. You can like move things telepathically, and it's like Master Genius Wizard guy.
Yeah, that character was definitely a pastiche of like Luke Skywalker learning to use the Force from Yoda. That's why that Space Ghost showed up for 2 seconds.
And that was a good gag. I feel like there were some good jokes in here.
Yeah, but I love the fact that like, yeah, he not only that he was bad at it, but Dirk is like putting so much trust and faith into this like protege who's not very good. Meanwhile, the ship sensors are like picking up the whatever it was, the other fleet coming. I don't remember.
Yeah, he was like, I sense evil, but I kind of sense that everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. When it's like when the moments where the episode really actually leaned into the fact that everyone here is bad at their jobs, which from what I understand, Star Trek and Star Wars would never really do. Like that's where I like the most.
Well, and yes. Like one of my favorite jokes was, revealing that Nosh had posted on social media that he was in the corner. Like those jokes where they screw up or make their plan worse and heighten the fiasco. Yeah, those were the highlights of the episode. But then any of the baseline stuff, the dialogue isn't really interesting versus, how the dialogue is interesting when Phineas Ferb and the Backyard Gang are just having a conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that they do throw the jokes at you pretty quickly, because it's not even a full 11 minutes, because it also has the framing of Baljeet and Buford on the tail ends of the episode.
I wish we had seen more of.
Yeah, but I will say, like, I don't know. I'm kind of more agreeing with what you're saying, Alex. Like, I think retroactively this has grown on me a little, because you just have to not look at it as like the same structure that Phineas and Ferb would have. I mean, even what you're describing as like these characters being stupid and bad at their jobs is pretty antithetical to, I feel like, the core like character philosophy of Phineas and Ferb, where like no idiots, no jerks. This is a spinoff where they're just like
they're all idiots
they're all idiots and jerks.
I feel like this feels more like a show that Seth MacFarlane would create.
That's what. Yeah,
it felt like the Orville. Like if the Orville was animated in the vein that, like American Dad or Family Guy is animated, they could have leaned more into the jerkiness, the idiotness, and the satire in a way. Seth MacFarlane.
It was reminding me of Futurama.
Yes,
like the character Zap Brannigan,
but it still had to be like dumbed down and not dumbed down. Dumbed down's the wrong word. It had to be made accessible to the audience that watches Phineas and Ferb, and as a result, I think that hindered it.
You know what? I have a comparison that I just thought of.
Yeah, shoot.
This episode reminded me of Sam and Cat all of a sudden, and I'm gonna explain why. Because most people do not like Sam and Cat, including people who like iCarly and like Victorious. A lot of them don't like Sam and Cat. The reason I like Sam and Cat relatively compared to those other shows, I don't think it's that much worse, is what I liked that they did is there was a very conscious effort to have Sam and Cat do the wrong thing a lot of the times, like morally wrong thing, or just, making mistakes and things like that. And it like works out for them anyway. And that's what you kind of get here. And in the Space Adventure episode, they're kind of, they're escalating the bit over and over again. Someone keeps making mistake after mistake after mistake. There are more and more and more people chasing after them. They're going through more and more repeatedly, increasingly, ridiculously dangerous nebulas and stuff. And it keeps getting worse and worse. And then at the end, it's just like, and hooray, it worked out.
But it didn't.
No, but it did for them though. They're safe at last,
Yeah, but the Earth got impaled.
Yeah, the Earth
did get because I feels like it got jammed. Like I don't know if that's because
I guess that's the cliffhanger.
Was the joke because it was in the water part of it, and so it didn't land?
No. I think the joke was that they were celebrating when they clearly failed to defend the Earth.
Oh.
Yeah, that was my takeaway from it.
Oh yeah, I forgot that they were trying to defend the Earth. I forgot that they were defending the Earth.
Well, and they also. The reason I compared the episode to Doctor Who was they had that joke earlier where he's like, they're invading Earth. Why is it always Earth? Because that's like everybody makes fun of Doctor Who, how every time there's an alien invasion, it's always London.
I feel like this episode is going to grow on me the more I watch it. Like I already watched it, for a second time and liked it more than the first time. So I'm not saying this is a terrible episode.
Yeah. I bet if we lock Zach in a room and force him to watch it 10 times in a row, it's going to become his favorite episode.
No, I feel like because, y'all are pointing out the tropes that you picked up. Alex, how many times did you watch it?
Twice.
Okay, so I've also watched it twice, but I'm not picking up on the nuances that y'all let down. But it feels like,
Dude, the 6th time you see Space Adventure, it hits.
yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
like with Chippendale Rescue Rangers the movie.
Oh no, I disliked that movie the first time, and I disliked it more the second.
I've
time.
liked it more times until I got to time number 6, and then I was like, why have I watched this 6 times in the last 3 years? 2 years actually.
Speaking of media with weird animation, can I talk about some of the animation in this episode?
Go for it.
Yep.
Um,
Because it's Halloween, I'll let you do it. Ooh, spooky.
yeah, for the
Ooh,
Halloween
episode.
we're having a little animation segment. Initially, I was confused by some of the character designs in this episode, because it looked like some of them were humans and other ones were just like humans wearing costumes. And then I remembered, oh wait, this is a show within a show. This is meant to be live action in the Phineas and Ferb universe. It makes sense that the aliens in the show look like they're humans wearing costumes, because that's what like Doctor Who looks like. That was conveyed well. But then we got to the race of honey badger people, and it kind of defied that, where they all just looked like characters from Bluey. I don't know if that was just me. Did any, like, they had this weird like chibi dog art style.
Oh wait, yeah, I can see the bluiness.
Yeah.
I will say the gag of them running on in the costumes was the first big laugh I got out of this episode.
Oh yeah. The janitor honey badger costumes.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Secondly, okay, we talked early on in Afterferb about how like the animation in season 5, I feel like calling it bad is not necessarily fair. Calling it inconsistent, I think, is like definitely the way that I would describe it, because there are shots in this episode, like especially when there's ships maneuvering in space and like the worms are chasing them, that are like beautifully shaded and they have a lot going on and they're very detailed. And then it'll immediately cut back to them all like sitting in the ship. And every time it did that zoom in on Commander Dirk, and like they didn't scale the line thickness, so it just looked like this flash animation right in your face. And they did that like 3 times. I thought this episode was like some of the most jarring differences in quality and animation the whole time throughout. I don't know if I was the only one who felt that way.
I'm sure that other people who pay attention to that type of thing also feel similarly.
Well, I watched this episode with Say, and Say also did feel that way, so great.
I'm completely
Sorry.
neutral about this.
Yeah, I remember the only like animation thing that I remember noticing was, I think, something that Zach and I both noticed, which was when Baljeet and Irving were working together in that one time.
Oh, yeah.
I noticed an animation thing in the next episode, and I said, Andrew, you can't say that one because you say a lot of
Okay.
animation things.
Yeah.
All right, looking forward to it.
Thank you.
They have a budget for this series, and they just like choose to spend it in certain spots and leave others like kind of thrown together. But anyway, the reason I mentioned budget is I also want to point out that this episode has like a pretty significant number of guest stars, and I'm just curious if any of them resonated with any of you.
Taddy Gabrielle from the Owl House. Woo!
Yeah, she plays, who's it, Willow?
Willow,
No,
yeah.
she plays Sophia Sharkboard.
Okay, well, yeah, we're Zach and I are looking at the wiki page for Space Adventure. We had Diedrich Bader as Captain Dirk, who he's done a lot of stuff for Phineas and Ferb.
He's just a great character actor.
He plays a character that I'm surprised we barely ever mentioned on this podcast, Albert Dubois.
Yep.
He also is in the Country Bears movie.
Is he the live action one?
Yeah, he is.
Incredible.
He's an incompetent cop.
I will say, I think pretty much all of the voice performances in this episode were really good. I think that's rarely ever a problem with Phineas and Ferb. It's usually pretty stellar. We had Ruth Negga as Lieutenant Zarna. We had Rhys Darby. He's one of the guys from Flight of the Conchords as Lamond, which is interesting because they've had Jermaine Clement also do stuff for like Phineas and Milo. Fred Tatasciore, who played Hulk in Phineas and Ferb Mission Marvel, returned as Nosh, which is confusing to me because I thought that character mostly made monkey noises, but he's credited as Nosh in the credits. And then there were 2 Try Guys in this episode.
Yes, there were.
Just voicing random like honey badger race people.
Good for them.
So
Sorry, I don't know a lot about the Try Guys. They are
They
the
try
guys
a
who are
lot of
always like,
things.
we're going to try a lot of... I feel like I remember hearing at some point they were talking to Dan Povenmire, and they were like, what if we wanted to try voice acting? And he was like, hit me up.
Oh,
he was like, I'll put you in the Space Adventure
we'll
episode
put
where
you
none
in
of these
this low
characters will
stakes
return.
episode that doesn't get in the way of our actual series.
Yeah, this vaguely rings a bell. I'm sure someone else knows more about that than I do.
Yeah. And then they once again had Kevin Michael Richardson voicing a character but being credited as additional voices, which is weird because that's happened several times this season. But he's great. Anyway, I feel like they spent a lot of their season 5 budget on specific portions of Space Adventure, being the voice cast and some of the animation sequences.
And you know what? I'm gonna say I defend it. You know what? I'm launching a campaign in defense of Space Adventure. Hashtag Space Adventure is okay.
It's definitely.
I would agree with that.
It's definitely one of the episodes of the series that has a Princess Bride framing device.
Yeah.
If I had a nickel for every time, I'd have two nickels.
Okay.
Where Buford's sick in bed. Sorry.
Well, even Bujeet says "as you wish" at the end.
Yes. No, it's definitely an intentional reference, and they've also done that before with Monogram and Carl.
Yeah.
But sorry, I'm just on the wiki, and whoever edits these is very funny without meaning to be, because it points out this is the 5th episode a character has been sick. And then specifically it elaborates, this is the 2nd time Buford is in an ill state. The first being brain drain, because he wasn't sick in that episode. He was pretending to be sick to fit in with the other kids. So they had to elaborate that this is the 2nd time he's been in an ill-like state.
It's accuracy is important.
Yeah.
I want to see an episode that's a Princess Bride framing device, but it's Linda reading to a sick Lawrence.
That'd be fun.
And it's also like Lawrence is
or it's Marty the Rabbit Boy and his musical blender to like Irving, or like some like 2 random characters.
Or Irving and Candace on the seesaw or something. But anyway, we may or may not have a special guest to bring in momentarily.
We don't usually, but it is a special Halloween episode.
It is a special Halloween episode, so we may or may not have a special guest to bring in who I'm sure not only has a few thoughts about Space Adventure, but also will have many thoughts to share about Part 2, which is Droogenfest. So come right back in half a second, and you'll see if we have a guest or not.
Bye.
Bye. Woo.
This is Afterferb.
Oh my god, look at that. We have a 4th person in the call now. Could it be? Is it Master of Puppets, Expert of Muppets, fellow fan of Off Book, the improvised musical with Zach Reno and Jess McKenna, and has witnessed the carousel of progress more than anyone in the world? Our friend and yours, Maria Nance. Woo!
Yay.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
How you guys doing?
We're good. We've been talking about Space Adventure. I don't know if you heard.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow, Space Adventure.
That
So-
sounds
Yeah.
like you have a lot to say about it.
Just a few things.
So, Maria, I heard that you have thoughts on a certain ship on Phineas and Ferb, and it in fact is actually how you know all of us here on MWCA, is there's a certain ship between 2 characters, perhaps a gay ship, that you have thoughts on. Is this true?
Yes, I was actually going to bring this up, like the first thing.
Great.
So we know that Space Adventure is a show that was made in like the late 60s, 70s. So do you think in the Phineas and Ferb universe, 70s business salary women shipped Lamond and Dirk and changed fan culture to what we know it is now?
Yes, this was the ship that I was talking about.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, is there implied homoerotic themes between Dirk and Lamond in this episode?
Well, Lamond
No,
is
that's
very
the problem.
obviously Lamond's obviously a Spock reference.
Mm-hmm.
And Dirk, obviously Kirk. So it's like it should be there if, they were smart about it.
I might be very ignorant, but do people ship Captain Kirk and Spock from Star Trek?
What do you mean? You don't know?
I'm not
Maria's
a Star
eyes just
Trek
got huge.
fan. I don't know.
Okay, so what I was referencing before, the businesswoman, salary woman of the 1970s shipped Kirk and Spock so much that they made fan fiction tropes and zines and art that is still being referenced to this day. Like, modern fandom would not be what it is now without those 1970s businesswomen.
I thought you were talking about Bujeet and Buford.
I was doing a bit.
Yeah, that was the
Oh my
that was
gosh.
the bit.
You're doing a bit, but then it wasn't.
It's a
Mhm.
bit, but it's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know a lot about fandom culture.
All right, why don't we let's rewind a little bit. All right, I would like to start now. Here's something that we can do. that we actually do with every guest, and I completely forgot to. Maria, why don't you talk a bit about like your experience with Phineas and Ferb and your relationship to that show, and then we can get into like ship wars and stuff.
Of course, yeah. The first ever episode that I watched was right after the premiere of High School Musical 2.
You were there from the beginning.
I was there from the beginning, and I watched every single episode as it aired, and as it did reruns all the time, so much so that like my mom will still reference things that I haven't even thought about because she just watched it so much, you know, because I watched it. Yeah. I've been there since the beginning. I've written a lot of fan fiction. Like a lot of fan fiction about them. I love these characters so much. I'm looking at so many Perry the Platypus plushes that I have in my bedroom. Yeah, I love Phineas and Ferb. And it's because we all, you know, it's how we met. I love you guys.
Aww. We love you too.
Through Bujeet inspired fan fiction.
Yes. So, MWCA, I watched it. I'm gonna say I started watching it like 7 p.m. and then it was midnight by the time I finished it.
Wow, you must have been like playing it on 0.5 speed.
Yeah.
Which is an insane way to watch something.
I know. But in that like fervent speed, I was like, I have to write fan fiction now. Specifically about a specific Buford Baljeet scene. And through that and through a driver's license parody that you guys did, I connected with Cadence. And she got me in connection with you. And then I got in connection with everybody else. And
then we rode the People Mover with you at Disney World.
Yes. Ben rode it with me twice because he lost his fan.
Yeah.
And then Ben, a cast member there, was because we were like, oh yeah, we can just do the thing and get it back. And he was like, no, you have to rewrite it to get it. So we had to rewrite the whole People Mover together.
Yeah.
I love some of those pictures that we all took.
That was
fun.
Such a great time.
It was a great day.
Maybe Andrew can put one in the video right now. There's one picture.
Oh, look at that.
Wow.
I'm so happy that you met through your fanfic, because MWCA is already kind of a fanfic. So this is kind of like Inception, like a fanfiction of a fanfiction. So
Exactly.
thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
On Baljeet and Buford, I felt like even though they were very briefly in this episode at the very beginning and then for like 2 seconds in the middle and again at the end, I felt like it was in a way sort of the most Bujeet heavy in terms of quality over quantity episode maybe ever, because in particular at the end when we get the whatever the caption was, like Buford didn't actually like space adventure. They almost set it up in your brain, so I was like, oh, they're going to conclude with he just wanted to spend time with Baljeet. They like set it up perfectly that, and then they betray that expectation at the very end to him just like breathing germs on him. It's like, oh yeah,
funny.
Couldn't go that. But that's what's fun about the dynamic is it's all the form of a ship, and then the content of it is like betrayed at the end. You know, I think that's what people like about it.
Yeah.
I want you to imagine how I first watched this episode. I just got off a shift. I can't drive, I'm disabled, so I had to wait for my wife to pick me up from her job. But my ending of my shift and her ending were about 3 hours, so I was just doing some resort hopping, just having some fun. I'm sitting in the lobby of the Polynesian. No one else is in there. It is just me as I am watching Space Adventure, and then I hear Baljeet say, as you wish, and I fall in the floor. I am not joking. There is no hyperbole here. I fall into the floor and my cane falls on top of me.
Is that because of the Princess Bride reference or because it's the dynamics between them?
Yes.
Great.
Oh.
Yes.
Also,
No.
the Polynesian Resort's also the last place we saw you. So
Yeah, that's true.
How
Did
do
you
we
ever
know
leave?
You don't live there.
Here's the thing, guys.
You've been waiting a long time for your wife to pick you up?
Yes, I'm waiting a very long time for my wife to pick me up. No, I'm a very big fan of Princess Bride, so hearing that, I went, ha, ha, ha. I got my crumbs that I can bake into a beautiful bread of Bujeet.
Yeah, I will say my favorite moment in this episode upon my initial viewing was just the on-screen text at the very end of like in short, Buford never liked space adventure. He just wanted to get Baljeet sick. But I know that's what it said, but in my head I interpreted it as he just wanted to sit there with Baljeet.
Yeah.
And breathe on him.
I didn't like seeing the air though.
Yeah, I didn't think they needed
That
to
was
animate
weird.
his sick breath. That was
Yeah,
gross.
it was strange.
But nonetheless, I liked that joke.
Yeah.
And he had fish curtains. His whole room was fish.
Yes, his whole room was fish.
Biff.
He had a big fish tank over in the corner. It was really cute.
I hope Biff is still alive this summer, but I don't think the life expectancy of a goldfish is more than a year, so he might be dead.
Listen, it's a
Yeah.
Phineas and Ferb universe. Fish can live as long as they want.
But then again, we've had two different Asian fishes.
The last thing I want to say about the Space Adventure episode is these names in the credits, which I took the liberty of pausing and reading every single one. We have some that are just normal names. We have some that say things like Stanley McFlynn, not Stanley, but Stanley. We have a reference to Jeff Swampy Marsh, which is Lagoon, quote, Jeff Bog. And we also have on every single page what I think is a typo. All names in these credits are made up, and similarities to anyone living or dead is purely coincidental. Purley. I don't know if any of you noticed that, but that typo existed on each of the 3 pages, and I was like, is this intentional or not? It couldn't possibly be, because I don't think this is a joke.
It feels like a single editor came up with all of those names and all of the text that was on screen.
Yeah, probably.
Well, shout out to whoever that editor or writer is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we move on, Maria, any overall thoughts on the Space Adventure episode?
As someone that is a big fan of Star Trek and Doctor Who and the sort of sci-fi of, the 60s and 70s, Space Adventure, I was so hyped for Space Adventure, and then I feel like it spat in my face. It was, I wanted it to be so much more than it was, and it disappointed me, unfortunately. I wish the episode was sort of like the Wizard of Ood type thing where Buford's imagining it so that all of the Phineas and Ferb characters could be those characters, but
that could have been cool.
Come say, come saw, I can't do anything about it now that it's out here, and it's bad and it upsets me sometimes. But at least I got As You Wish.
At least we got As You Wish. That's totally valid.
It's an adventure in space.
So true. Okay, time to talk about Droogenfest now. Here we go.
Yes.
All right, episode 2, Droogenfest. We start with Aaron Daniel Jacobs singing a song in a funny accent to give us some
A
exposition.
banger of a song, by the way.
Pretty good song.
I don't know how I didn't piece together that was him, but that totally makes sense in retrospect.
It was the Drusselstein driving test waltz voice all over again.
Right.
Yeah, but I just couldn't help but noticing that the mayor tasked a group of 11-year-old girls with basically ensuring the economic prosperity of the entire tri-state area, knowingly.
That was one of my notes, too.
Same. Of course, it's like, oh, Roger wouldn't hire professional, chefs or any bakeries. No. Let's get some 11-year-old Girl Scouts in here, guys.
Yeah, to make, basically, we once again have, it's a bit of an info dump start to the episode from Isabella, to be honest. We have, all right, first of all, they have to make the official Droogen strudel. Number 2, the key is the dried dunkelberry, which is the Droogen. Number 3, Drusselsteinian emissaries will be here at the fair. It's a lot of blink and you'll miss it at the beginning. That all actually turns out to be quite important.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say I really like this episode, and I think similar to Space Adventure, but for different reasons, it was better on subsequent rewatches. For this one, it's because they did kind of throw a lot of information at you really quickly, to the point where I almost thought the pacing was too rapid the first time I saw it. But upon subsequent viewings, I'm like, no, they just had a lot to get through. But once the setup is there, I really like what they did with it.
I mean, I feel like with the character dynamics at play here that we don't ever really get to see, and the very complicated exposition, I think this episode's very economical with how it does its exposition.
It's funny you use economical, given that the Dan Bale's economy was on the.
Oh, dang. That
Chris.
wasn't even intentional. I'm a genius, but I didn't even know it.
All right. So first of all, we have, I think, definitely the highlight of the episode is Isabella and Heinz reuniting. This is a fantastic scene, because first of all, we have, all right, from the beginning, confirmation that Candace Against the Universe is canon. Isabella immediately goes, "What are you doing here, Dr. Doofenshmirtz?" She remembers not only his face, but his name after like really a full year in canon. Because I feel like a lot of the talk has been, oh, why? But the kids don't remember him. They might not recognize him. I think it kind of makes more sense that Heinz is the one who doesn't remember them, even though he ends up remembering them later. But in particular, when he starts doing the adulting dance, and Isabella's so excited, like, yes, that's it. And he goes, doesn't ring a bell.
They also, in theory, saw each other in the fall, in the Phineas and Ferb effect, but I don't think any of the writers were thinking about that.
Meh.
Probably not.
Do we know if this is the first time they've openly acknowledged the events of Candace Against the Universe this season?
I think of overtly, probably, yeah.
The closest we got was when the plants looked like Heinz, and Buford was like, doesn't look familiar at all. Remember? I'm reading those plants, the Heinz plants.
Well, I mean, Space Adventure, yes, was referenced way before Candace Against the Universe with its own stuff. But Space Adventure and Droogenfest, you really need to watch Candace Against the Universe to get this 2 episodes.
Yeah, it feels like Candace Against the Universe is the thing to watch immediately before this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Space Adventure had none of almost any character, including Candace. And this episode had very, very little Candace. She only shows up right at the beginning for a failed bust attempt.
I think this is Ashley Tisdale's easiest pair of 2 episodes back to back.
Yeah.
In the entire Phineas and Ferb run.
Yeah. Clock in, clock out. What were your thoughts on the emissaries and all their little quirks about all the things that festivals need to have in order to be satisfactory?
I definitely like just the overall vibe that we have our traditions and we know they're bad and that's why we like them and don't mess with us. And they definitely lean into that humor quite a bit in this episode. Like, everyone kind of acknowledged that the Droogens themselves don't taste very good. Mm. I liked how far they pushed it when they're dissatisfied with Isabella and the Fireside Girls upon tasting chocolate when they want it to be Droogen. They just start taking their stuff, and he goes, "You waste our time, we take your stuff." I don't know.
Followed immediately by a press conference. So once again, Danville government's on top of it.
Yeah.
Also, Roger immediately being like, "Everyone panic." He's a bad mayor.
Yeah. I found it interesting that Roger was the one calling these press conferences. There was breaking news in this episode. And Dink Winkerson, who has been in so many episodes for no reason, was nowhere to be seen when there was actual breaking news happening.
He's probably in jail.
He's back in jail.
Maybe the bit is every time he has something to talk about, he's in jail, and then when he's free, he has to make stuff up, report on soccer matches.
That could be the bit. Let's check. When is there something newsworthy, and is Dink there or not?
Yeah, sound off in the comments. Is Dink there?
Yeah. I think this was among my favorite Doofenshmirtz motivation / backstories / monologues of the season so far. Because we get, first of all, a flashback to his childhood, and he specifically points out that just Droogens being super disgusting was his last straw for leaving Drusselstein altogether and sailing off to America. So that was a fun little tidbit. And he did the whole I digress all the time. Right now, I'm digressing at this very moment. I was like, yes, this is Heinz in his prime. This is what I love to see.
I made note of that as an instance in which Phineas and Ferb was possibly teaching some children a word.
What, the word digress?
Yeah, because he kind of defined it as he was using it. I feel like the original run used to do that a lot more. So I like that.
Per usual, the embodiment of ADHD.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Love to see it.
I don't know. I kind of had a different take on the backstory. I don't mean to be so negative this episode of Afterferb, but I feel like usually, in the earlier couple seasons, when there'd be a backstory, we would see it for at least 30, 45 seconds, maybe even a minute, and they would be pretty developed. And I feel like the ones this season have been wrapped up, at least in the flashback animation, 15 seconds or less. I feel like we're not getting a lot of the really for lack of a better term, batshit crazy backstories that are like, all the way to the wall like they used to be in the earlier seasons. But it was still nice to see that style.
Well, you're forgetting about Heinz Has No Chlorophyll. That one was pretty bad.
Heinz Has No Chlorophyll was pretty funny, but I feel like they're so few and far between this season.
Yeah.
My whole gripe with this season is that, but also catchphrases. We haven't been getting catchphrases. We haven't getting a lot of the backyard gang in general. But that's my whole deal.
The wiki page for this episode, Droogenfest, has like the running gag section, and it straight up says there aren't any this time. Like they didn't really there's like Perry's Lair entrance, but like there's no like what you doing, too young line.
That's depressing.
Yeah.
How many times has Doof actually said "curse you, Perry the Platypus" this season? 2, 3?
I don't know if he's even said it this season. I don't know if he curses him anymore.
I'm sure he has.
So that'd be funny. The only curse would be Ferb when he was duplicated in the last episode.
Curse you, Candace.
Yeah.
But that's actually, Zach, that is a good point about the backstory, because I feel like the bit here being like, oh, he bites into something chocolatey and expects it, or that he thinks is chocolate, is expecting chocolate, and it turns out to be a Droogen. And I feel like you almost could have done a, what's the name of the guy who kicked sand on him all the time? That backstory?
I know who you're talking about.
Hans?
Yeah, he's like...
No, that's the guy with huge hands.
Yeah, huge hands Hans.
Huge
anyway, whatever
hands.
it was like in the sandbox, sand, and this other place, sand, at the beach, no sand, but I couldn't stop. I feel like you could have done something like this, like biting into my chocolate bar, Droogen, biting into my strawberry, Droogen, biting, and then maybe something crazier, biting into
brushing my teeth, Droogen. You replaced my toothpaste with Droogen.
Yeah,
Who does that? How did he get access to my house?
Going to sleep, Droogen, things like that.
It's interesting because in Dry Another Day, Doof goes out of his way to replace the water with Dunkelberry oil, but he doesn't like Dunkelberries in this particular form.
I love grapes and I don't like raisins. So
I agree with Alex.
I love ketchup and I hate tomatoes.
There you go.
See, I'm the other way. I love tomatoes but hate ketchup.
What?
Disgusting.
What?
Zach, that's an insane take.
Okay.
That's ridiculous.
I will say another gag that just kind of like Alex talking about, gags that, he thought they were going to do. In the song at the beginning, it shows 3, porta potties that go occupied, occupied, occupied. I was kind of expecting that third one to not say occupied, like occupied, occupied, and then like don't even think about it, come back tomorrow or something. Or like something a little more like out there. I was surprised that they didn't take the comedy comes in threes route, not to shut on the song.
Well, okay, but on the topic of comedy coming in threes, we complained in Battle Days that the goat only screamed twice, but lucky us, the goat came back in this one. It was just a delayed payoff. Aren't we all glad the goat is back? Thank you, Joshua Pruitt, for the goat. I really like the goat.
My note was no in all caps with an underline.
At least to like fit into the story a bit this time.
Maria, what do you think about the screaming goat?
It was a meme for like a week in 2012. Why in the big 2025 are we having the screaming goat meme? Also, something I forgot to bring up with Space Adventure, also big 2025. Why did we need a fat joke? Come on, guys. What's going on here? I thought you guys were better than this.
Well, as you kind of said before, they were recreating a show from like 1960 or 1970, so...
Well, yeah, but Star Trek wasn't bad about fat jokes.
Okay, I don't know. I never watched it.
Well, okay, but Zach and I were also curious about that because they have the bit where Nosh is like posting to Instagram.
That also made me upset.
And earlier this season, Bujeet filmed the Space Adventure movie and Out of Character. So I think it's implied that this could be a current show.
Is this a reboot?
Is it a reboot?
Maybe.
Is this like Space Adventure: The New Generation?
It's a reboot that everyone hates.
Yeah. Well, because there must be multiple Space Adventure series because I was looking up if any of the names in the Nerds of a Feather episode for the characters were reused, and they never said Captain Dirk Morganson. Phineas was dressed as Captain Lump Sharkboard. So therefore, I think there are multiple Space Adventure continuities, and we were watching an episode from the reboot.
This episode of Afterferb should be titled mainly Space Adventure with a little bit of Droogenfest.
A little bit of Droogenfest.
No,
which is bad because I really like Droogenfest.
Yeah,
it's just Space Adventure keeps hitting.
Tell us more about what you liked about this episode, Maria.
Yes.
I loved Isabella in this episode.
Fantastic.
She's so important to me as a character, but also just to like the show in general. And her being so upset at Doof the entire time is so funny, because I'm imagining in the universe where he is a science teacher in high school, she walks in her, like, sophomore, junior year, and Doof is her teacher, and she just goes insane about it.
Write it, Maria.
It's
Write the
funny.
fanfic.
I will. I'm gonna write a space adventure fan fiction that fixes all of this. One, I'm gonna write Isabella fan fiction about this. Get in the comments, guys. What do you want me to write fan fiction about?
Post your fan fiction requests to Maria in our comments.
I actually have a question for all of you about Doof and Isabella. Like we've all said, this is such a fun duo. This is such a great dynamic that was never explored in the original run, was a treat in Candace Against the Universe, and we're so excited that it came back for, this season. Isabella expresses multiple times, throughout the episode, her disdain for Doof and how she doesn't want to work with him again. But then at the end, looks at him and says, "This isn't over." And I'm wondering, do you guys think in season 6, there's going to be another Doof Isabella episode, and maybe this becomes kind of like a
Probably.
there's one Pontiac Bandit episode per Brooklyn Nine-Nine season. Is this going to be a new trend going forward for every subsequent season?
I want Isabella Garcia Shapiro to beat Heinz Doofenshmirtz's ex.
That's the series finale.
I want.
Yes.
Yeah. I really like to say I do think they're going to go back to the well on it. I think there's a lot more they can do. I think Isabella is best as a character when she's not super happy all the time. I like her being pissed at Heinz. I like when she's annoyed at Phineas and Meepless in Seattle. I like when she's a little bit sad in Summer Belongs to You. It makes her a lot more interesting and brings her to life quite a bit.
Alex loves to watch this girl suffer.
You know what?
No, I get what you're saying.
Yes, okay.
We like it when she's 3-dimensional.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, multi-dimensional. And I think the fun thing with Heinz is that with her dynamic is because they set it up, and the obvious thing is the little kid is so much smarter than him and he's kind of stupid, which is most of the time true. But then they still have the capacity to occasionally twist it around a bit and be like, oh, Heinz is helping. He has 2 trucks that he brought with him, and he can also build really big machines, So it's not as one-sided as it might look on the surface.
Yeah, she couldn't drive 2 trucks. She's a child.
Exactly, he's adulting, as he kind of points out. So I think I don't want them to overdo it. I don't want them to be seeing each other every other episode or anything like that. I think if we get this once or maybe 2 more times, and over the rest of this run of the rest of this 1.2 seasons we have left or something, that should be enough for me.
I kind of like the same usage of Stacy and Perry as well.
Yeah.
Perry in this episode was so good. I loved his dancing.
Yeah.
Great usage.
Droogie.
Great usage of Perry.
I was going to say, to me, this episode got hype the moment that pretty much all the principal characters, except for Candace, started working together. Because it's we've seen the Backyard Gang with Doof once before in Candace Against the Universe, but the fact that Perry also had to be involved with the plan by stalling the emissaries, I thought that was great. It was kind of like the Cloudy with a Chance of Mom moment, where it's each character's playing that part. It just elevates it so much when they do that. I do have a weird qualm to bring up, which doesn't really matter, but it's a fun thing that I want to consider. So Doof's a Nader in this episode. He mentions that it turns all Droogen into chocolate within a 1-mile radius. And at first I was like, oh, so this just turns the literal Droogens into chocolate, and that's, why everything becomes chocolate.
Great observation.
Thank you. But it also turns the signage in the festival, all the stands that had Droogen signage, that gets changed to chocolate as well.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't notice that.
And so my question is, how is it possible that Perry the Platypus was able to get in this Droogen mascot costume after the concept of Droogens had been replaced with chocolate, and yet it is still a Droogen costume?
Because the guy was running late, and the mascot wasn't there, even though they had paid for the meet and greet. And because he was running late, he was more than a 1-mile radius away from the festival.
Okay, well, what did Perry do to the man who was supposed to be in the mascot
Paid
costume?
him off. Told him to go see a movie. I don't know.
Did he kill this man?
No,
or
he
woman?
Paid him dollars, money.
Yeah, real US dollars.
Said, buy yourself something nice.
He spoke?
Yes, he spoke.
This happened off screen.
Yes.
With the voice of that scientist Wexler or whatever his name is.
Oh, Tim Curry?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, that was it. That was
My
mine.
qualm with this episode is who, like, they're building a big Droogen thing for them to eat, right? But they're using like a steamroller to like roll out the dough, and that steamroller's been on the ground. And like they're running on the Dunkelberry, and their feet have been on the ground. And there was just so much food in this episode being consumed that was on the ground. And I just worry for these characters' health.
It was inside Norm.
I thought your qualm was going to be because you're always so up and at 'em about safety that at the beginning when
I'm a cast member.
When the kids start rolling the enormous Dunkelberry on the road, pretty much immediately they force a car to swerve off the street.
Yeah, that was
onto
crazy.
the sidewalk.
Yes,
I was like, oh, they don't usually show that type of thing. That's interesting.
But this episode made up for it with Doofenshmirtz asking Perry to pull on the yellow tab. So like it evens itself out.
Cool.
Oh, I want to mention that weird animation thing that Andrew noticed, and I said, hey, I noticed that too. Let me bring it up.
Oh, with Buford?
Yeah, thanks for bringing up the thing that I said I was going to bring up, Andrew. Because
I didn't say what about
it's all
Buford.
I feel like in that first scene, his mouth animation looked a bit off from normal, but I don't know why it did.
No, it was a different mouth cycle because usually his mouth extends to the edge of his head.
Yes, and this one was
just like in the middle of his face. I don't know why they did that. That's so much extra work they would have had to do to make it look weird.
Yeah, and I feel like that's not something we've seen the show do with Buford, or if we have, it was like once or twice.
They did it with Meep in Meet Me in St. Louis. He had like 2 different mouth cycles, and one of them was just like super weird and wrong.
See, I knew that you would know the correct terminology for it.
Yeah. I'll give this episode credit for an animation thing though. Some of the ride vehicles they had at Droogenfest were like 3D models, and then they put like traditionally animated characters inside of them, and I thought that looked really good.
Speaking of characters in the vehicles at Droogenfest, we have a sad update for all of you.
I didn't think I would be able to talk about this twice on Afterferb, but Josh from But It's Christmas Becky showed up in this episode as well. As one of the guys on the vehicle, and the last time we saw him in Duplicated, he was sharing a seat with a new girl who's not Becky, implying that he had moved on.
We were proud of him.
And now he's just by himself.
He was alone in the vehicle.
Now, here's what it was. So he was bringing this new girl on, I don't know, like a first date or something, and they ended up getting kidnapped by some evil children and tossed around the city, and she was like, that's enough of that guy. So that's why he's alone again.
Or she's like in line to buy something and he wanted to ride a ride. Like, it could be that. I'm trying to be optimistic here.
But it's Droogenfest, Natasha.
Write that down. Also, just speaking of like characters, who was that random fireside girl that was like all bulky and stuff?
Oh my
that
god,
came out of nowhere?
that sent me.
I love her.
I love her too.
Mitzi.
Mitzi
is the name.
Say that you missed me.
So strong.
She appears in 2 shots. Isabella says the emissaries are here. Mitzi and this fireside girl we have never seen before, who is completely jacked and like larger than Heinz.
Swole fireside
carries him off.
I love it.
I hope we never see that character again, even though I love her.
I hope we see her in every episode.
I don't mind a new fireside girl. I just hope they give all the fireside girls a little bit of a personality.
Yeah.
One day.
They're still struggling to do that with the main 6.
That's my job.
Yeah, so tell us about Mitzi, Maria. What is she like?
Mitzi, she loves horseback riding.
That's your horse-related story.
It is.
Love that we all have horse-related stories.
So true. Yeah, I just feel like in general, like, this episode, one of the great things, it was almost kind of like a very distilled version of Candace Against the Universe, in a way. By the fact that, not only you have the 5 kids working together with Heinz, but especially the fact that you have Perry undercover secretly helping out, as he has done. If he did it, like, perpetually in Candace Against the Universe, and he did it in Cloudy with a Chance of Mom, and did it again here by, I think this is my favorite version of it, dressing up and dancing. Chef's kiss. I've never seen Perry do such a thing, dancing as Droogie for 45 minutes. But I feel like, again, to bring it back to Alka, like, how could it possibly be, if this organization is that serious about this, no one can know, that it must remain a secret, that to your host family, that you escape and fight this particular evil scientist? How could it possibly be that the evil scientist, knowing those kids and occasionally being friendly with them doesn't completely put all that in jeopardy and force Alka to hit the panic button. This confounds me, and it's surprising to me. I like it, but it surprised me that they kept this dynamic as part of the perpetual status quo.
No, I agree. Like, last time you brought this up on the previous episode, Alex, like, it's getting more pointless why he keeps his identity a secret. And I was like, yeah, but they would never cross that. But you pointing it out again, like, yeah, they're not even pretending, like, dancing around not knowing Dr. Doofenshmirtz anyway, so it is seeming a little bit more superfluous.
Perry was just straight up running around the festival in his hat while Isabella was right there.
Yes,
Wait,
he was.
What if this was like a Friends moment where so I'm referencing when like everybody figures out that Monica and Chandler are an item.
Do they know that we know?
Except like Ross is the last one to find out. What if, because Stacy already knows and like maybe Vanessa knows and Isabella could possibly know. It gets to a point where everyone in the tri-state area except for Phineas and Ferb and Candace know about the secret identity thing.
I would be surprised if Lawrence has known the whole time. Like, Lawrence is just like, oh, yes, I've seen Perry sneaking away. Totally normal. And he just hasn't brought it up.
I feel like Ferb knows.
Yeah, Ferb would know and just not say anything about it.
Yeah.
You know what I think? Here, I have a brand new theory that I'm not telling, that I'm... Okay, so, you know, in literally season 1, when Phineas and Ferb go down into the lair by accident, Phineas thinks Ferb built it.
Yeah.
And then at the end, Ferb is like, I give up. All right, here's my new theory, is that Phineas and Ferb actually piece together that Perry is a secret agent and pretend not to know so that he can stay with him.
I kind of love that.
Aw.
But then why would Phineas act so surprised and crazy during Across the Sect Dimension?
Because he can't reveal the fact that he's known the whole time. He has to pretend. Okay, I guess it kind of starts to fall apart a bit here. But what I thought you were going with, what I thought you were going for was, what if everyone ends up finding out the secret and thinks that no one else knows, but everyone knows except for like Major Monogram. He's like the only one left who thinks the secret is still going on.
So everybody starts pretending that they're keeping it a secret to Major Monogram, even though it's not a secret.
Yeah, that type of thing.
I like that.
I can't believe they're gonna Truman Show Major Monogram.
I want to Truman Show Major Monogram.
The Francis Show.
Man, he's really... Yeah, I hate to say he kind of...
Wait, Andrew, can you say never know something that I don't in your Major Monogram voice?
Never know something that I don't.
Oh my god, you're so mean.
Could you say good afternoon, good evening, and good night?
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah.
This episode was made for me.
Truman Show is my number 1 favorite movie of all time.
Yeah.
Speaking of favorite movies, this is a very weird segue. One of Andrew's favorite movies is Toy Story 2, and I just couldn't help but think that when Norm turned into an oven, he looked like Woody in that one scene in Toy Story 2 where there's like a game where you throw a ball in his teeth.
Tooth out.
Yeah. And that was my segue into Norm's an oven.
Yeah,
now?
okay, we got to talk about Norm. First of all, this is the most prominent appearance of Norm this season.
And he's an oven?
And he turns into an oven. And I would just like to ask, like, what happened to the squirrel inside of him? We see fire veering through.
The squirrel went up. Squirrel went brain. Fire down.
I see. No, but fire rises. Fire famously rises.
It'll make him run faster.
Haven't they already been inconsistent about that?
Oh.
Yeah, sometimes he's had a battery and sometimes he's had a cord, but...
Yeah, sometimes he has a squirrel, sometimes he has a...
He's an oven now.
And Norm, constantly funny. I gotta say.
I love Norm.
Like, is this what eating feels like? Chef's kiss. No pun intended.
There was something very, like, other dimension-y, like, or alternate universe by seeing Doof and Norm in a quirky worky montage. I kind of got a kick out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah, man, it would be fun to see just a quirky worky montage that was just Dr. Doofenshmirtz by himself building an Nader.
I would like to see a quirky worky montage that is not interrupted. Because I feel like we keep getting interrupted.
Oh, yeah.
I want to hear the full song. I would like to hear the full song.
Well, you can listen to it on Phineas and Ferb Rockin' and Rollin' soundtrack from 2013.
Is that the one with the purple logo?
I think it's like yellow.
Boom, digga, boom, digga, boom.
I feel like it's on several
boom,
albums.
digga, boom.
Might be wrong.
It's on one album.
Yeah. I think it's purple.
All right.
Sound off in the comments if you know what color Rockin' and Rollin' the Phineas and Ferb soundtrack is. Oh, I also have another question for the viewers.
Wait, viewers of the of Phineas and Ferb or viewers of Afterferb?
Well,
Because if it's viewers of us, they're more like
I
listeners.
don't think there is anybody who listens to Afterferb who's not a viewer of Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah, but they'd be listeners because they can't see us.
And I don't think anyone who's not a viewer of Afterferb would be hearing this question that Andrew's about to ask. So.
That's so true. So to anyone who can hear this, so it's a thing in the Phineas and Ferb fandom that apparently has been corrected. Carly messaged me about this. The official troop number for the Fireside Girls that Isabella is in is Troop 46231. And yet, presumably for years, it's been like referred to incorrectly because in Isabella and the Temple of Sap, right before they sing the Fireside Girl anthem, they say, we're Troop 46321, and then they sing their song. And fans have been upset about that, and they're like, corrected, it's 46231. And in this episode, they name dropped it, and they said 231, thereby correcting it according to the fans. But then I was looking into this further and I was like, where do they actually call it 231 prior to Isabella and the Temple of Sap? And I could not find an instance of it occurring. And Carly couldn't remember it occurring either. And she is the Fireside Girl Isabella expert. So if anybody in the comments knows what the first referral of the troop number of the Fireside Girls was it 231 or 321? Sound up below and say what episode that was in.
So are you saying that there's a chance the first time they name dropped it was 321, and then thereafter every other time was 231?
Yes, that's what I
it?
think happened. But fans, for whatever reason, are like insistent that 231 is the original correct one.
Well, maybe just because it's the one they switched it to. You know?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. The one other last thing I want to say about this episode personally, that we kind of touched on a little bit, but I really like the fact, I feel like this episode gives very strong credence to my conviction that Roger's a bad mayor. I feel like this is the first thing I can point to and very decisively be like, he made a huge mistake. It went badly. He started panicking.
Yeah, he's biphobic.
Roger, someone should run against him next time. There, I said it.
He told the public to panic immediately. And also, because they weren't going to sign the paperwork, he was going to sell one of the areas of the tri-state area. Can we get billionaires out of our politics now?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. The mayor of one city is going to sell another state that he's not in. Is this how your country works?
Also, he chose 11-year-olds to take care of this this foreign relations diplomacy case.
Well, don't you hate it when the mayor sells the next door, the other region that the city's not in? Can't stand it.
Okay, I'm not defending the way Roger handled this.
Good.
But
it was bad.
To be fair, that it would not have occurred if his brother didn't use as an aider. Like, that's the reason why they got so offended.
Yes, but if you're a good mayor, you have a failsafe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because he's so close to Heinz.
Yeah, he should know that this is occurring.
Yeah, if you're a good tri-state area, you don't base your entire economy off of one trade deal with one Eastern European country.
Wait, whoa, hold up. Unless the tri-state area brings in so much, Danville brings in a significant amount of the economy for the tri-state area because of everything that Phineas and Ferb do. In which case, Danville now has a bigger piece of the pie.
They don't monetize their stuff.
You don't know that?
Yeah.
No,
we
do.
Know.
Oh.
We know in Out of Character, when they were like, hey, can we buy this from you?
They've only monetized one thing, and that's a roller coaster.
My theory went out the window immediately.
Well, yeah, but that was to the aliens. That wasn't to Danville.
Exactly. Should we talk about this dentist bit?
We gotta, man. I didn't get it. I was like, I must be missing something.
I didn't like it at first, like the first instance, but then the gag at the end made me like it.
The gag at the end was so jarring to me because I had honestly forgotten they had talked about it earlier in the episode, and then it just cut to this bizarrely designed dentist man with sideburns that look like Isabella's hair and a guitar sting that felt like it was from season 1 that we've like never heard lately. I don't know. It was weird.
It felt like it was a punchline to a joke, to that wasn't really set up. Like this is the only part of the episode I didn't like. I thought this was a really great episode. But that, like, they honestly just letting it hang as, oh, are you my dentist? What? No, was perfectly fine and funny by itself. And circling back to it, and by the way, I wasn't joking. You remind me of it was very out of pocket to even bring it back, like, oh, by the way, I wasn't joking when he said that you remind me of the dentist. And then I was expecting something with, like, it looks like Isabella, like, wearing, like, not wearing like something with a fedora, maybe. I don't know how they would have even worked that out, but just like the fact that the dentist looks like, is that the whole joke? Like, I don't know, I didn't like it, and it looked weird.
I disagree, because I feel like the first instance of when Doof says, are you my dentist? And Isabella goes, what? No. I hated that, because I was like, oh, now they're just playing up Doof being stupid for no reason. And then halfway through the episode, when he wants Isabella to work with her, he goes, hey, dentist girl. So when I heard that, I was immediately like, okay, they're setting up for something. And then the punchline at the end, I was like, got it. For me, that immediately forgave the sin of the first joke just being Doof is stupid. So I think...
But he's always had facial blindness. That's always been a character trait with him.
That's
you
true.
know?
I feel like the joke would land better if the dentist was designed better.
Yeah. I mean, I think he was intentionally absurdly designed. My thing, though, is he resembled Isabella in her, like, regular pink outfit, but Doof has only seen her in the Fireside Girl outfit.
Oh, shit.
Oh. You know what would have been maybe a little bit funnier if the dentist didn't look at all like Isabella, but was voiced by Alison Stoner, sounding exactly like Isabella.
That would be better.
Or if it was like, all right, Heinz, what you doing with your teeth? Or something
Yeah.
I don't know. I can forgive the dentist joke not being a perfect payoff, because honestly, the Doof Isabella arc in this episode itself, I think, worked better than it did in Candace Against the Universe. They actually, like, wrote it really well. It was a good character episode for both of them.
And it almost reads a bit that way. Like, they felt like, maybe we could have given them a bit of a better payoff in the movie, and they were kind of they wanted to circle back to this specifically for that reason.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maria, is there anything in Droogenfest that we haven't brought up that you would like to bring up?
I liked the song when we originally heard it, but then hearing it over the credits made me hate it.
Oh, the one that's just Droogen.
Yeah.
I'll give it this. It's been stuck in my head.
Getting something stuck in your head equals good to you?
I just think it's memorable. I don't know.
It is memorable.
That is not the same as good.
Here's my opinion. I think the credit song is not indicative of the song itself. I don't like the credit song, but I like the actual song at the beginning of the episode. So I'm not going to punish it for the credit sequence.
Yeah. I liked Perry falling backwards off the pier as Droogie. That was a very good bit that I liked.
Yeah. It's a good visual.
Did Perry reappear, like, wet? Because I was expecting him to, and then I don't remember him doing so.
I don't think we see Perry again, do we?
He just yeets himself off the port and then swims away.
Yeah.
If this was CinemaSins, he'd be like, oh my god, Perry died!
Ding.
We never see him again! Ding! You know?
Yep.
Did you guys think the sculpture of the Droogen man looked like Eustace from Courage the Cowardly Dog?
No, but now I can't unsee it.
Because it's just Eustace from Courage the Cowardly Dog.
It's literally just Eustace.
Thank you, Maria. This is why we have you
You're
on
welcome.
as a guest.
Now this is why we're friends. Doof biting his leg whenever he gets turned into chocolate is so unhinged. I love it. Just...
And then he gets like a big sugar rush immediately.
Yeah.
Also, a good visual gag is the very final scene where two of the foreign dignitaries have taken one bite of the Droogenstrudel, and then it cuts to the third guy, and the entire thing is gone off of his plate.
Yeah.
And he's the skinniest one out of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that they watched Droogie dance for 45 minutes. I love that.
He paid for the meet and greet. Like, you gotta get your money's worth.
Got your money's worth. Yep. So as we close this episode out, I have one final question for the three of you. Obviously, the perfect place to put a festival is 4 miles west of the perfect place to put a festival. So, what is the perfect thing to put at the perfect place to put a festival?
What?
Oh, wait, so you're saying because the perfect place to put a festival is 4 miles away from the perfect place. So instead of that place, what else would we put there?
Yeah, what do you put where the actual perfect place is?
The parking lot. And then there's a shuttle going back and forth between the festival and the parking lot.
Ooh.
I'm trying to make a hamster and Gretel joke here, but it's not coming to me.
Writers of Hamster and Gretel be like... I'm so sorry. The writers of Hamster and Gretel are great. We love you, but structurally, the punchline was right there.
Listen.
Oh my god. I liked the pilot of that show.
Oh, the pilot? Yeah. I liked Fred.
You are very Fredcore.
Thank you.
Anyway, does anyone have any ideas for what to put where you put the festival spot?
I would put a giant Droogen sculpture of Muriel from Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Good.
Nice. Maria?
I would put my hopes and dreams for a better season of Phineas and Ferb.
Ooh.
What? I've loved this season. For the
I've
most
loved
part.
this season, but it's not up to my expectations, I guess I would say.
What are a few things that they could show you in the final 5 episodes that you would personally love?
More of the titular characters, Phineas and Ferb.
That's
Fair?
a good point.
That's fair. Yeah. All right. My answer, I'm going to put a book. All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening to this episode.
This Halloween episode of Afterferb.
Ooh, Halloween spooky.
Oh, yeah, this was a Halloween episode.
Maria, would you like to plug yourself? Where can the people follow you, find you, and so on?
Usually they can find me in please bleep that. You guys can actually find me at Nerdy Maria Mania on Instagram, Tumblr, YouTube, AO3. Again, gotta plug those Phineas and Ferb fan fictions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on a puppet live-action cartoon TV show right now. So that's in the works.
Did you create this show?
Ooh.
Wait, I didn't know this.
Yes, I'm the director, writer, concept artist.
Oh my gosh, you're like the Bob Bowen of
Wait,
your
are you
puppet
like
series.
are you like producing it, and do you need staff?
Oh, yes, I would
Okay,
love
well,
staff. I was
okay,
going to talk to you guys, but not on a podcast.
Yes.
about it.
Oh my goodness. Whoa. Who would have thought this episode of Afterferb would turn into even more networking? All right.
I know.
That's why we have a different guest every episode. We got a network.
Yeah, exactly. We gotta bring in all our friends that we already know and network with them live on the air. All right.
I would like to pose a challenge.
Is this live?
Yes.
A challenge to the listeners. Please continue to comment on our episodes. Leave us reviews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and you can use that also as a platform for your own insane Phineas and Ferb takes. Whatever you want to say, just also make sure it's in a review that's preferably 5 stars.
Yeah. Rate us, preferably 5 stars. Reviews, comments, likes, sending it. Tell your friends. If you don't like it, tell your enemies. Yeah.
I'm going to say on this episode, write your Bujeet, Finabella, whatever ship you want comment, and I will reply with in that comment thread a fan fiction, not a full one, maybe a full one, who knows, but at least one sentence of a fan fiction. I'm getting your comments.
Oh,
That's
crazy
a big
right
offer.
now.
You heard it here first, people.
yeah, you're playing with fire there. There are some cursed ships out there.
I know.
Yeah. You can say
excited.
within reason. Anything that's too crazy.
Yes,
we won't
exactly.
Make Maria
I'm
do.
not. I'm not that crazy, guys.
Dink Winkerson and the Screaming Goat.
That was terrible.
You can also make a comment congratulating me for getting through an entire episode without mentioning Wendy Stinglehopper a single time.
Wait a minute. But you
guys.
just did.
No, I didn't. What are you talking about? I have
Okay.
no idea what you're talking about.
You
All
guys
right.
are crazy.
Anyway, thanks for listening.
And as we say at the end of every episode,
Cloudy with a chance of Mitzi.
cloudy with a chance of Mitzi.
Mitzi.
Hey, I know what we're gonna analyze. The episodes in season season 5.